One of the biggest mistakes I see climbers make is trying to push at their limit year-round. But more often than not, they end up injured, burnt out, and plateaued. Come climb with me on the new 30 set as I talk through how to better structure your year. Hello and welcome back to my channel. It's been a while since I've done a more vlog style video, so I figured I would take you all along with me for today's gym session. I'm going to be climbing on the new 30-degree set. I haven't climbed on any of these boulders yet, and I'll tell you how my season's been going, what things are going to be looking like as the summer comes in here in Chattanooga, and share any other thoughts I have. So let's get into it. I'm recording this session at the end of April, and I'm pretty happy with how my spring season has gone. I was able to spend a good bit of time in the Red River Gorge and get on a bunch of different climbs, as well as scope out some potential projects for the fall. I would say March to mid-April has been pretty ideal in-season weather. And when I say in-season, I'm talking about one of the 4 sports seasons, which is an integral part of my coaching and training philosophy. Sports seasons are a form of periodization, which is just a fancy word for breaking your year up into different blocks. One of the main problems I see as a coach is climbers trying to perform at their best year-round. But this approach actually leaves progress on the table and increases the risk of injury and burnout. Instead, having intentional periods of training, performance, and recovery is the more sustainable and effective way to reach your goals. Here's a quick sports season breakdown. In the off-season, your goal is to become generally good and generally strong. The preseason is a transitional season, which can be thought of as either an on-ramp or an off-ramp to your in-season. The in-season is your performance window where you prioritize executing your goals, and lastly, the postseason is when you take a rest from climbing and training completely. If you want more details on the sports seasons, I have a free seasonal training guide which I've linked in the caption. Now let's get back to the session. Those were the white tags minus the dyno. So my goal for today's session is just to do a power check-in. We're in a transitional shoulder season right now in Chattanooga where it's still fairly climbable outside, but it's definitely getting warm and humid, so not ideal projecting or sending conditions. My focus right now when it comes to the outdoor climbing is just to kind of enjoy the last little bit of time climbing outside because the summer here is pretty brutal and long, and then also to do a little bit of leg work for the fall. There is a project that I started working on in the last couple of weeks, so I'm just trying to get some working sessions in on it, get my beta down, and then kind of figure out what I need to train for. Right now I'm doing a bit of nonlinear periodization. So today is my power day, and I'm really looking for 1 to 2 climbs that are just below limit so that I'm climbing on moves that are still pretty challenging, but not necessarily at limit level. So for me, that's usually the harder yellow tags or easier blue tags. I'm going to start with what looks like some of the easier yellows, see how those feel, and then pick a session project. I'll go ahead and talk more about periodization right now. The difference between linear versus nonlinear periodization is that linear periodization is the more traditional way to go about training, where you have a specific goal for a set period of time, and then you progress to the next block with the next goal once that's finished. So for example, you might have an 8-week strength and power building block, followed by 4 weeks of power endurance and ending with an endurance block. This works well if you have a dedicated training period with a consistent schedule and a clear goal for that block. Nonlinear periodization is different in that you're varying the type of training stimulus from session to session. So one session you're focused on power, the next on power endurance, and then the third on endurance. You're cycling through these 3 types of sessions to maintain all 3 qualities at the same time rather than building one at a time. I first came across this concept through Steve Bechtel, who wrote a book on it called Logical Progression. So Nonlinear periodization is a strategy that works well for keeping a reasonable level of each of these adaptations, but it's harder to truly build on any one of them. So it's not something I'd recommend doing for too long, but for this shoulder season, it's what's going to work best for me. Those went well, so I am going to pick my project for the session. It's going to be this yellow blue tag, so I'll walk you through my process as I go through it. What I like to start with is just trying all of the moves, not getting stuck on any one, so that's what I will start with. All right, that is all of the moves tried, and what just happened there is why I'm always a big proponent of when you're scoping out a project or just a harder climb to try all of the moves, because the first move on this one is the hardest, and if I had just stayed on the first move and tried it over and over again, I would have probably gotten pretty frustrated and moved on to a different climb. But because I tried the rest of the moves, I know that the rest of the climb, it feels hard, but is definitely very doable. So I just have to figure out this first sequence, and then hopefully once I do that, I can try to put it all together. I played around with the idea of going right hand for the first move, but ultimately that didn't work. Davis, the head setter, did end up moving the start foot in a bit closer, which is a perk of climbing at a small gym. I know that this is not a common experience, but I'm grateful to climb at a gym where accessibility for shorter climbers is important. All right, I did a modified version of the first move, did the match, and then the move to the left hand. So all that's really left to do is the first move. First move is still very hard though. Doing the modified move was helpful. I figured out where I do want to grab that first left hand, and then being able to then do the moves after that was helpful too. So rest up and try the first move. That was pretty close, definitely still making progress. I'm going to take a long rest. I'm definitely starting to feel tired. I think I've been working on this for maybe about 30 minutes, so we will see when the diminishing returns start, and I'm probably towards the end of my session now, but we'll see how it feels after a longer rest. I think for this one, just need to come back with some fresher fingers. That match move is really intense, but I'm really happy with the progress that I made on the first move and that I was sticking it pretty consistently by the end. But yeah, I got out of the session what I was looking for, and I'm excited to keep making more videos for you all this summer. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.